Good evening, everyone. My name is Sarah Pouls, and I am your student's Reading, Writing, and Inquiry teacher, the course offered through Indiana University for this semester. I know that this is a little bit of a different format for us to be meeting, but I'm going to take you through the course. I'm going to project a little PowerPoint to walk you through it all. And if you have any questions at the end, please feel free to shoot me an email. My email is spolls@lths.net. I'm happy to answer any of your questions. All right. So we're going to go through a little bit about me first, just so that way you can get to know me and my background. We'll go through the course goals, some grading breakdowns. I'll walk you through Canvas, and then we'll talk a little bit about how this school year is different than previous years. My background, I attended Augustana College, which is where I received my bachelor's in education and English, as well as with a theater minor. I love incorporating theater into the classroom, and although this is a writing class, I'm hoping to get your students engaged in a similar manner. I earned my master's in written communication at National Louis University, where there was a whole variety of different types of applicable and practical ways to use writing in the real world. This is my 7th year at LT, but my 8th year teaching overall. And I'm going to be teaching the Literature of Comedy course in addition to the dual writing course this semester. And then next semester, since this is a one semester course, I will be teaching IPC. Just a little bit about me. I love to read. I'm an English teacher, but I've been a Harry Potter fan since the books were first released. I think I've read them about 3 or 4 times each now. So if your kids enjoy Harry Potter, then they can feel free to talk to me about those. I enjoy sci-fi novels as well, in addition to memoirs. But over the summer, some of my favorite books that I read were Circe, Stamped, and Where the Crawdad Sings. I tried to expand my horizons a little bit this summer, especially seeing the summer reading list and how much of a variety there were. Music. I have a very wide range of interests. My favorite genres span from heavy metal. I grew up with my dad blasting Metallica in the car, but I also, I love Broadway musicals. I grew up listening to the Spice Girls. Currently, I'm obsessed with Hamilton, of course. I did get to see it before it left Chicago. I'm also a huge Foo Fighters fan. Some of the things I like to do, I'm a huge Marvel fan. I used to read the comics when I was little, but now that the movies have been created, everything has just kind of come to life. I enjoy reading. I'm a huge Blackhawks fan, and I tend to go to a lot of performances or shows over the summer, so that was a little bit sad not being able to go do those things. Some fun facts about me. I have not aged, apparently. I look exactly the same as I did when I was a senior in high school. So I've already warned your students that whenever we get to return back in person, to not confuse me with one of their student or one of their peers, because I do blend in. I'm very short. I started fostering dogs a couple years ago. We adopted our most recent foster in the spring, actually right around when we started remote learning. So that has been kind of a nice family journey. And then I'm also left-handed, so writing, I tend to smear across the page. And when I was younger, I used to try to play my cello backwards when I first started. What else do I do at LT? This is my 7th year coaching our speech team, but I actually took over as head coach last year. So these are just some fun pictures that our team took all together. It's a blast getting to know the kids. I think I even have a few of your students on the team. So that's what I do outside of LT, well, at LT, but after school. All right, a little bit about our course. Our course is divided into overall 7 course goals, and ultimately it centers around writing. So ultimately we want the students to start viewing writing as a process that really requires that detail and consideration of the purpose behind why an author writes a certain way. They'll be engaged in the revision process throughout the semester. They will also be asked to be reading several different varieties of content area pieces. This is a writing course that isn't just designed to be an English course, but the writing that they will do will be applicable to any content area they decide to study in college. They will engage in inquiry-driven research, so they will ask their own questions and pursue those answers. They'll be introduced to creating complex thesis statements. And then, of course, we'll follow proper genre conventions and grammar and structure to help aid their thinking and their writing. It's a little bit of a course breakdown. Ultimately, the course is divided into 3 units, and each unit has different numbers of summatives. Summatives are that final grade that the students will be receiving or a final project. Formatives would what we would consider be their practice assignments. So each unit, these are all of the summatives broken down. This is all of their point values throughout the entire year. I'm sorry, through the entire semester. Each summative is going to count towards the student's final grade. It does look like there are a lot of points, so I've told the students to take away the 0, and it looks a little bit more doable. The work that we'll do, though, leading up to the due dates, will help the students practice with strategies needed in order to do these summatives. So we're hoping that the summatives won't feel as daunting as we go through the course. This is what's called the skill crescendo, and I've shown this to the students already, and I'm hoping that as a visual, they can really see how they'll be growing as writers over the course of the semester. Ultimately, we're starting off small with specific skills, and then over the course of the semester, we're gonna be adding on to those skills. So this visual breaks our year down by unit. We see the 1, 2, and 3 at the bottom. And then each of the kind of tabs that breaks off of those units are the different skills that we're going to be looking at and applying to their writing. So if a student ever is wondering kind of where we're headed, this is a really good visual for them, as well as for you if you see them struggling. These are some of the Indiana policies that you should be aware of. Attendance is taken into account when it comes to your overall students' grades, but we do understand that there are extenuating circumstances, and we know that this is a trying time. So all we ask is that your students communicate with us as much as they possibly can, so that way we can be as accommodating as possible while also adhering to Indiana's policies. As for revision, typically LT allows for students to revise summatives. Because this is an Indiana course, they don't allow that. So what we've decided to do is we're going to be making sure that the revision process happens ahead of time. So every single summative, the micro themes, the essays, our commonplace book, we're going to be able to be working towards that end product through that revision process. Students will be drafting, students will be working with me as well as their peers, looking at student models and revising for specific skill-based items in order to do really well on that summative. We don't want it to be a stressful occurrence for them to be submitting that summative. So we are hoping that the students will really start believing and seeing how writing is a process, and that they will invest themselves in that process as well. Canvas is our go-to when it comes to our course. This is the homepage that the students see whenever they log in. You can see that there's a Zoom link right in the middle. That is where they access our course every day. They do need to be logged into their LT Gmail account, otherwise some things won't work. But then over to the left, everything that we will post, anything the students will need, will be over to the left under modules. Under modules, I will be dividing our course by week, so that way the students can see day by day what we've been working on, depending on which day I have them. At the very top of every week, I will always have a Q1 calendar, and in that calendar, they can see exactly what we're doing each day laid out for them, especially if they like planning ahead. That's a good resource for them. I also post our daily agendas, so that way if the students ever want to look back on things that we did in class, they can. It's also the tool that they should be using if they ever have to miss. So if they need to make something up, everything will be listed in that daily agenda. Then the Monday through Friday breakdown, those are all the handouts that we use during class, so the students can see exactly how they are used by taking a look at that daily agenda. And if the students ever have questions about how these things work, all they need to do is shoot me an email and I'm happy to respond. So how this year is different. Clearly we are remote, which is Not the most ideal way to beginning a school year. I feel really bad that I can't actually get to meet your students in person. So I hope that things get better and that we can be in person soon. But until then, there are some positives in being in this type of schedule. Even though we're remote, the students are experiencing the length and the frequency of a true college course. Usually, college courses meet only 2 or 3 times a week, so they're really starting to get a feel for what a course like this would really be like in the college atmosphere. The reading, writing, and inquiry teachers were trained over the summer to mimic the IU instruction, so this course really does parallel what the course on campus would look like. The teaching team, the RWI teaching team, have been working together on a regular basis. We are trying to create our lessons with intention and create a positive environment for your kids. So we're hoping that all of this will pay off and that your kids will have a great experience with the course. What our weeks typically look like. On Mondays, we have our general staff meetings with those teaching teams. So that's really where we'll figure out, what are the best ways to be going about these lessons with the kids. And then there are 35-minute synchronous class periods that day. On Tuesday or through Friday, depending if it's a blue or a gold day, there's 75-minute class periods. All of the classes decided that they would really appreciate a 5-minute break, and I completely agreed with them. So we schedule that in every day. But then our class is broken into various activities. I'm hoping that those activities will help to keep the kids more engaged because they are on a screen all day. Ultimately, each activity is centered around one specific focus for that day. And we are using breakout rooms. I'll do some direct instruction. We'll do full class brainstorming, but then we'll also be engaging in the writing workshops. So that way the kids are able to practice with their writing and get feedback live. And that's about it. So if you have any other questions, please contact me at my email, which is right there, spouls@lths.net. And I'm really looking forward to a great year. I'm hoping that this year is positive, and I hope that the kids really enjoy their time. So if you have any questions, please reach out. Have a good night.